Basketball.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skiddy, and Malley for the Insight NBA show.
G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Insight Fantasy Sports podcast. I'm your host, Skiddy IFS, where you can find me on X and all the other good stuff. And I'm joined today by my main man, mustache in hand, mustache to mustache, live my fantasy. Malley, how are you, brother?
Coming up free mustache rides. It's going to be a fun evening.
Bloody oath, mate. Hey, that's what we do around here. Two best mustaches in the business, as I always say. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be diving into an actual real draft that me and Mally were a part of, as well as G, as well as Matrix, Supercoach Braino, Big Horse. We had a lot of boys that came in and jumped in with it in a 9-cat, 12-team league. Now, before we jump into that, though, Mally, we always got to give a special shout-outs, and that's to our absolute superstar, day ones. That is the Standard Squeeze, as you can see, that I'm drinking from right now, as I always do. They keep your beer cold, coffee warm, and then right now, as always, promo code IFS15, 15% off your first order. You can get the hats, you can get the 4-in-1, you can get the Standard Squeeze bottles up here that we see. They always do it for us. We love them. Cannot tell them anymore. But, Mally.
They just sent me a stunning sky blue number. I'm drinking my can out of a can like an idiot, but when it gets washed, because I only turned up today, I'll be debuting it. It's beautiful.
Woo, cannot wait. About time that's got it out to you, mate. I mean, geez, you've been asking for long enough, I reckon. But we get stuck into one today, Mally, where, as I said, 9-cat, 12-team, and this is a real one. This is with all the money's on the line, and we see it right here now, presented to you, Mally. So, as we can see with the how the first ones went, oh, geez, I have absolutely cooked that. As we see here, first ones, Mally, one of our subscribers, peace to be with you. He got the pick 1. G was pick 2. I was pick 3. Teddy Moo, another subscriber, pick 4. SMK, pick 5. Young Yoda, pick 6. Matrix at 7. Puzzle Sports at 8. You were at 9. Our boy Whisperer at 10, Braino at 11, and Horse at 12. First of all, Mally, how did you feel your draft went? And how do you feel like it went overall?
So this was my 4th of 4. I usually limit myself to 3 drafts, but I wanted to be in this one with you guys. So I've overdone it, and I've gone with number 4 this time. Actually, out of my 4 drafts, I've done 2 12s, a 16, and a 20. It was the highest position I got to pick from at 9, so I felt spoiled for choice, which is a pretty grim year for me. So probably the thing that happened was I'd already doubled up in some guys across the 3 drafts that I'd already done. And there was a lot of guys that I hadn't touched, more because they hadn't really fit my build. So what I really tried to do in this one, unlike my other 3, was go for something a little bit more balanced. And I think I did a reasonable job at that, because that's not really the way that I like to operate. But I really did go with who did I think was the best on the board. I probably realistically wouldn't have taken Ball before Harden and Trae Young had I not got them in 2 other drafts. The other 3 that I'd done, 2 of them I took from 11. So even though those guys were there and I think they're better overall than Ball, I probably would have taken those 2. But yeah, like coming back around, taking Edwards after I said that I probably wouldn't have taken him in the top 20 has really grown on me. I just thought, let's get a hell heap of points. Let's get 2 guys who are definitely the kingpins of their team, which you could say about most of the guys in the first and into the second round, but they're obviously the big scorers. They're young. Edwards has been reasonably strong as far as injuries go. LaMelo, not so much. So I thought maybe getting Edwards on the way back around. I know we can't predict injuries, but, you know, it is good to look back at historical views and see what happens. And yeah, the rest just kind of played out from there. How about you with your first couple of picks? What were you thinking?
Yeah, so I had to pick 3 and I had to toss up between Luca and Shea, and I went Luca in the end, which I think most people would probably be happy with as well. So I was pretty happy with then being able to get Karl Anthony Towns in the next round. So I was able to get the rebounding that I wanted, a couple of assists. Threes are still good, and my percentages are really solid. The one thing that you'll notice from my team is that my percentages are bloody strong, aside from Gobert. Other than that, it's fine. So really, really happy with how that turned out. I have some good amount of threes. My assists are good as well, and my points are really strong too. So that's where I kind of lent into. I got Dame in the third, which I just... Mate, I'll tell you what, I was looking at Tyrese Maxey around there, and I could not believe that Dame fell to me. And I went, okay, fine. I will definitely take that. It was more than happy. And I thought it was a really, really strong draft. I saw some guys as well when we were looking at it. I think the guy that had Wemby at 1 drafted extremely well with getting Fred VanVleet blocks-wise to help him out there from the guard position. Booker as well, really solid in that aspect. And then he ended up going a little bit later with Kawhi as of late there, Malley. But was there anyone in the first few rounds, let's say first 3 rounds, that really shocked you with? Because let's say these guys know what they're doing, and it's nothing that it's going to be like, oh, hey, this has been a bad pick. It's just been like, hey, they must really like this guy to have a bit more of confidence in taking him.
No one there stands out to being atrocious. To be fair, when I came around to my second pick, it was a choice between Towns and Edwards. So obviously I'm saying that I liked your second pick there because that was one I was contemplating, 6 or 7 picks before you. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks before you. Not particularly. Maybe Markkanen being a little bit early, not because I don't think he's a great player, just because I think there's probably people on the board still, well, maybe not. I mean, his percentages are always great. He can score. He gets rebounds.
Yep.
The defensive stats, honestly, if I look who was picked after him, no one really does the job he does. I mean, so yeah, I was going to say him, but yeah.
No, I agree with that, but also too, I feel like he pairs him well with Harden. So the threes, the points, the rebounds, really, really strong. Harden's not a big defensive category specialist, but the percentages are nice. But then he went defensive steals for Butler. He went blocks with Jaren. He went rebounds for Ayton. He went blocks with Kessler. He went blocks with Porzingis, and then steals with Chris Paul and Tyus Jones. So he bloody lent into it afterwards, but that's all right. Nothing wrong going there. The next few, I thought Big Horse had a really, really strong middle half there where he went DeJounte Murray and Evan Mobley pairing with Mitchell and Sabonis. I thought that was a really, really nice one to get Mobley that late. The other thing that we didn't see, which you'd see in a lot of drafts, is the centers were a little bit stagnant besides around this mark here where it went Vucevic, Claxton, Ayton, Duran. And then it went back to being a bit stagnant again. So it's something that we don't normally see because normally we do see them clumped up really, really quickly, really, really fast, and then they all went. Especially when it's like this Şengün Bam pick. A few more start to go off around there, but we didn't see it in this draft.
No, it didn't really work like that. I mean, I'm looking at these teams now and kind of having a little look and seeing what went on. I do like is it MP's T-bar at the top, at the front end there at the first pick. And I think you're right. If you roll back to him here, he's done a pretty balanced kind of build. I like that he, with his 5th pick with Allen, he kind of went back and he built on the blocks that he needed to kind of maybe push up just that tiny bit from what Wemby was giving him. It's hard to tell with Leonard. I mean, that's probably the earliest I would have taken him in that 6th round. I think I wouldn't have taken him a mark early, and it was the last pick of the 6th round. He kind of went after that Jones, Caruso, Gafford, and Hart, and he's clearly leaning into a punt points build. I'm a little unsure there, and obviously he's made his decision after that how Booker fits into it. Because, I mean, the percentages are nice and that will probably help him a little bit. He won't get a lot of assists. He's probably going to get quite a few. His assists are probably going to be down from last year. His rebounds are never totally impressive. He's going to be a 3-pointer type guy. And I mean, if I was him, I would be looking to move him and pick someone up who might really lean and help him with the rest of the build, because everyone else on there clearly makes sense to what he's going for.
Yeah.
And that's not to say Booker's useless. I just think Booker would be a better fit on someone else's team. And a lot of the things that Booker does so well with his scoring, with his threes, are kind of going to be somewhat wasted on this team. So if I was him, I might be looking along the line a bit and, could he trade him for someone like a Şengün, who gets the assist, gets the rebounds. The points are obviously nowhere near what Booker's going to be getting. That might be something he wants to think about. I'd love to chat his ear off and see what he was thinking. And at that stage, I would have done the same thing. He's picked up the best available guy with his second pick. He's gone great Van Vliet and Wemby. What an absolute killer combination. He's rolled back around. And then I think he's just gone, great, I'm going to commit from my fourth pick all the way down to, well, at least as far as I can see with 11th. He's got these a great defensive team. And that's clearly been what he's after. And he's going to be really hard to beat in steals and blocks. And then, even going like Clay there, I mean, that's another one I just don't get.
A bit of throw. I can understand the Booker one, though, because he doesn't kill you in percentages either. So none of these guys really destroy you percentage-wise, but none of them are massively good at it, probably besides Book from that guard position. I could see it being if he was going to trade it, then he'd have to get like more of a defensive kind of guard to fix with the team. But also too, it's Booker. He can do a little bit of everything, and he doesn't necessarily kill you. So it's not a negative, but it's not going to Book's full potential. I agree with you there. He was actually the reason watching. I was keeping a close eye on his team, and that's why I pushed away from defensive stats, because I was like, I'm not beating that shit. As soon as he took Herb Jones, I went, nah, bugger that. I'm not competing with him there. So I went everything else.
and then I look along and I think, would it been a better fit to have like a Fox on the team, who's probably not going to do as much scoring this year, but he had a great year with steals last year. Not that means that it's going to translate over to this year. And I just think if he took someone else, he wouldn't have taken a Derek White that early, but a Derek White would suit his team better. That might just be a hat on a hat. Like, he probably just doesn't need what someone like Derek White's going to do. That's going to be so many steals and blocks. You don't need to beat people by that much. You don't need to give them an absolute pound down.
That's true.
So I like that team. Looking at our blue chips, which I'm guessing is our friend G, because this just has got G written all over it. G's team, I like, but it's like he drafted 1 through 12. And then he let everyone else start drafting. He just got exactly the guys that he wanted. He must be chuffed with this.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And then he gets Dyson Daniels down late. He gets his boy Gary Trent later. Isaiah Hardenstein, he's not worried about the 6 weeks off either, but he gets Al Horford. He gets Al Horford to basically just replace and cover him from there, because this is only a 1-center league. So, couldn't agree with you more there, mate. We've already gone through my team where it's just heavy amount of assist threes, that kind of biz. So that's all right. We go to Teddy Moose. He's got the OKC Perry. How good's that?
Yeah, I love that. I've only seen it happen in one of my other drafts, in my slow draft. Josh Lloyd's Locked On Fantasy Basketball Ball. The one a guy did the exact same thing. He got 4, and then he came back around, and with his 9th pick in the second round, he picked up Chet as well. Yeah. Just back to your team, something you said before, like
you tell me about
you said something about you said that no one's really damaging for the percentages. I love your team for that. Like Doncic, obviously, and Gobert are known for their free throw percentage, but you've got so many guys here that's going to be a non-issue. And and then you've got so many guys, like you've got Towns, you've got Bane, you've got Beal, you've got DiVincenzo, and to a point, you've got Cam Johnson, who are just above a league average in both of their percentages. Correct. So my dream is always to have a team that gets good percentages, and I suck each time. Even when I'm consciously going, all right, I'm just going to let field goals go, but I better at least try and keep free throws healthy. It never works for me. So I have got a bit of jealousy for your team. I think you made some decent picks, and I like
field goals
that you've got go there.
Yeah, so he was a nice one there. Field goals is a little bit iffy from time to time, depending on who's not playing. But I did find one thing I did notice, and it's something that we have actually brought up on podcasts before. That's the fact that I found myself at a point where I went, oh, shit, I have no small forwards. And I have no access to small forwards. I had Beal, right? And then I know I reached on DiVincenzo, but I don't care because I still like him. And then I found Cam Johnson fell to me. So that's how the draft works sometimes. Took a swing on Simmons, but who gives a shit there? But that's how it goes sometimes. That you got to be able to remain flexible with it. It's all good. We can still trade if need be, mate.
And I mean, looking back to Teddy Moo's team, I actually think that he's got my favourite 1, 2, 3 picks. I love the Shea, then the Holmgren, then the Şengün. 3 young guys, busy on their teams. There might be times where OKC have a big play week and he's going to dominate. There might be times where they have a poorer schedule and that might hurt. That's one of the things I'm always a little bit cautious about. Getting your 2 best guys on the same team is that it's all gonna like equal out in the wash where you go, I'm gonna have some power weeks here, but then on the week that they play 2 games, I'm screwed. And I mean, maybe he's got other guys who play a 5-game week and it just works out. So I mean, unless you're crunching the numbers, which you can't do with a 45-second pick, you're not going to know that. But yeah, I think he got great value with Keontae George. I just saw him slip in.
Love that one.
I thought that was about right there. Anyone else on his team that you want to talk about?
Keontae George, I think he was the right player at that time for his team, and I was spewing because I really thought I was going to be able to get him when I had Kuminga there, but that's all right. I thought Brown was a little bit of an iffy one for Teddy Moo. I understand why he did it because he went points-wise, but Brown can hurt pretty badly in free throw percentage. But again, if he doesn't hurt in free throw percentage, then it's a great pick. I think he then went DeRozan to try and counterbalance Brown, if you know what I mean, because Shea's so good free throw wise, right? But Brown hurts pretty badly. So that's the only one that I thought was a little bit contradictive of that there. But again, if he doesn't absolutely destroy you in field goal, free throw percentage, then you're absolutely fine. And it's not completely negating Shea, one of Shea's best qualities. We go to SMK, and I thought this was a ripper where he went Davis, Kyrie, Maxey quickly. So shitload of scoring. Didn't really care about that, but then he leveled himself a bit better with Pascal and Bridges. A couple of nice little flight. Brook Lopez was falling and falling and falling.
Yeah, and that's a steal.
He got him around there. I was like, geez, I know we only have 1 center league, but that was a good pick. I thought at that stage. I reckon it's just it's a really nice, solid team. You got anything for it?
He's just got a lot of really middling guys, and I don't mean that in like a contradictory, like kind of, I'm not putting down the team because I quite like the team that he's made, but he's just got all these like I don't know. There's not a lot of like stars of the franchise kind of thing, which obviously after the first few rounds you're going to get out.
That is the one thing that I noticed about it was that he doesn't have a number 1 option on any team.
Yeah. And I mean, you could argue Davis is now, but he's got a freakish amount of number 2s like Davis, arguably number 1, Maxey. Number 2, Kyrie, clear 2, Maxey, probably a clear 2, quickly, clear 2. Yep. Siakam, I'd say he's the second option.
He's 2.
Bridges, Sexton, he just even though he's going to be the 6-man Bogdan, and then like he was probably did a great. He was lucky that Lopez fell and was probably one of the steals of the draft. Not that he's not like he's an awesome pickup, but he just fell like probably 2 rounds later than what he probably should have been going in my mind. And that kind of probably put him back somewhat in the conversation to if he can get Wemby on a bad week with Davis, with Mark Williams, and with Lopez, he's in for a shot there. And his percentages might be a little bit wild. Like Kyrie's obviously great when he plays, but Siakam's not known for. Tyrese Williams, Portis, but I think that's enough about that team. Quite like it. I think he made some smart choices.
How's this start for young Yoda, though? Giannis, KD, LeBron. I mean, if this was real life, he would have just be absolutely taking the piss out of all of us. And then Paolo, Jamal Murray, Mikal Bridges, Kobe White, Zubac. I reckon that's really, really nice drafting from him. He's got a little bit of everything. And the good thing that he did is that he's not gone into a, like with Giannis, he's gone, okay, I'm not worrying about the free throws, obviously, but he's not going to guys where he's like, I'm not going against them. You know what I mean? Like KD's a good free throw player, but he still can generate the points and the rebounds and a couple of assists and everything that works well. LeBron's not a great free throw guy anymore, but that's fine. He keeps doing it. Paolo's negative in that aspect. So he hasn't gone with it, but he's drafted well to be able to get the benefits of those players to work well with Giannis. So I thought he's done that really nicely.
One thing I noticed just by looking at his team now, I reckon they'd have the overall oldest average age. You know, when you're starting with Giannis, who's probably in his prime now, but then KD, James, Murray's kind of here, there. Paolo's young, I guess, and so is White. Zubac, middle-aged. But, yeah, I'm just looking at his team. He's probably got the oldest overall, like, average age. But, I think Paolo, Banchero a little bit early, but compared to where I've seen him go in every other one of my drafts, it probably was late. So early for me, late on average. So he's probably in the end done well. Zubac, I love at in the middle of the 8th round. I think that's a cracker. I was kind of surprised that he took because I saw A. Thompson go off the list. I was like, oh damn, there goes a man. Yeah. And then I got him in 3 picks later, and I was like, oh wait, he took Asar. And I was like, I mean, Asar would easily be my second Thompson pick, and he picked him first. I'd love to know what he was thinking there. I don't know if he made an oopsie or whether he just thinks he's going to have a better year than a man.
He does still have that. Asar has that chance to start in Detroit. Like there is still that chance that he can do it, and then we know he's not. So there's that point, and we know he starts out for the start of the year. Then we go on to Matrix's team. I love the youth and the upside. If this team hits, it's going to be a bloody ripper. Halliburton, Barnes, Adebayo, Cunningham, D'Lo seems way early for me, but I know he's very high on D'Lo. Cam Thomas, Kyle Kuzma, Okongwu, Rozier, Sarr, Trace Jackson-Davis, PJ Washington, and Smart. A lot of upside to like about this team, and honestly, I reckon this is one of the better assist teams as well.
I mean, I've known Matrix for the longest out of anyone on the Insight team, and I've been basically, I think my fantasy career started when his started, and it's perfect because he and I have complete different strategies. Like he obviously goes for best available in his own mind, where I'll turn down guys I think are the better player in air quotes for someone who I think fits my team. I can clearly see what he's done here. He's picked Barnes and Halliburton and gone, screw points, I'm going to get everything else. And then he's probably done the same thing with Bam at his third. And I thought, okay, if this was me, you're building a punt points team. And then he kind of turns around and then he goes Cunningham, Russell, Thomas, who are probably the highest scorers on their own teams, and then Kuzma. And then I was like, all right, I don't know what he's doing here. But yeah, I know that he's picked up Sarr in probably every league that he's in. So he's obviously massive on Sarr. The only player that he probably would have taken is Washington, PJ Washington. Otherwise, I think G would have had his ultimate team. If you would have probably taken out Norm Powell and put Washington into G's team, my guy. That's G's. I love G. G. Must have been so stoked after this one. He must have been absolutely pumping.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm so keen for Matrix's team when it's a week where it's D'Lo, Thomas, Kuzma, and Rozier the main and Sarr are the main players that are playing for him that round, and his field goal percentage is going to be in the fucking toilet, and I'm all here for it. Either way, otherwise, I love it. I reckon it's there's a lot to like about it. But it's not a safe team. Let's say that by any means. He could finish last, and he could have a dead set crack. Puzzle Sports here. I thought. Great drafting as well. Tatum, there's no negatives for it. So then he went Embiid. Now, I like that in that aspect. if you're going to pair someone, Embiid to Tatum is a good one because we think Tatum should have a lot of games played. Embiid, we know, is going to get a lot of rest. You can't decide for it, but there's not a lot of better ones that you could go if you're going to pair someone with Embiid. But either way, there, fine. Fox, Morant, Vooch, Tobias is a beauty around that range. Green, maybe a little bit early. Avdia you probably could have got a couple of rounds later, but he felt like he was the man that he needed to get, so that's fair play. Drummond was a ripper. Oubre was great as well. And then Nick Richards could be I tell you what, if Mark Williams can't play, Nick Richards is your last pick of the draft. Is an absolute rip schnorter. I need to see how this team goes, but I need to see how it all kind of pings in together. He's got a lot of different bits, but it could be a good one.
I know Puzzle Sports, he got a bit shafted because I think the first 3 or 4 picks of his were auto-drafted, and then he came into the draft after that and tried to kind of scramble. But he's just got a lot of, probably guys who didn't get talked about a lot, like Vucevic. I haven't heard much chat about him, but he's just still there and kicking along. Tobias, I think that the move into Detroit's going to be like a little second retrieval for him. He's going to come and play hard. I mean, we saw that the few games in the preseason that he got, but again, not a lot of chat. Probably took Jalen Green earlier than I would have, but clearly later than some of the ADPs have got him. Avdia, maybe he's figured out now with the way that the dust is settling over in Portland that he's going to get a run. But I think overall funny that that he picked up a Drummond before a Grant, that was an interesting one for me.
He took the swing on Avdia and then took the guy that's his flooring in Grant 3 rounds later. So, I mean, that's fair work by him. I mean, you take the outside swing and then you get the base guy after that. So no problems there. I mean, he's got some rippers there. So we'll see how that all kind of plays out for him. You now, the big fella, Big Mo, big sexy himself. Ball, Edwards, Zion, Jalen Johnson. So there's a lot of youth going on here. Claxton. Then you picked Levine, you rat bastard. I thought there was no way anyone was taking Levine between these picks, and you take him. You take skinhead Tyler Hero. You take Podol, Amen Thompson, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Sohan, and Olynyk. I really thought Middleton was coming back to me as well. We've been talking too much because you took a couple of guys that I had my eyes on. But either way, mate, talk me through it because there was a nice start of your free throws, and then you went stuff them with Zion and Claxton. But then you brought them back a little bit better with Levine and Hero, and then you stuffed them again with Podol and Thompson. So I was wondering what you're doing there, but that's all right. Your field goals, nice. I think there's a couple of defensive stats to come. Boxer. Yeah, not really, but who cares? That's not one that you need to be. But you're going to be bloody competitive in a lot of categories, that's for certain.
I think won't be too bad. I mean, blocks won't be a strength of mine, but I'll probably be league average. I've got Claxton, I've got Pirtle. They're going to get plenty of box. Jalen Johnson gets a couple. Maybe Zion Williamson being the faux centre might do a little bit more defense. Who knows? Probably not. Thompson gets some out of position. This is my attempt, and as I said, I'm self-proclaiming here that I'm not the best level builder. I never really go for an even build throughout. I always punt. So, I think maybe I had my change of heart really with Zion there, and then I just tried to balance out my percentages. I tried to look and make sure I think the thing that I'm going to be most lacking in is steals. I know the ball gets a lot, and I know that Johnson can get a few, Levine sometimes, but I think I'm going to be struggling a bit there. I think the guys that fell to me, depending how you're thinking, some people say Levine fell to me, others will say that I went too high. Even in that game where he hit 100%, he just still looked like he just didn't care. So I'm a little bit worried about him. Hero, I think, fell. And I think even though I wouldn't regularly take him, I think CJ McCollum fell. Especially now that they're going to try and squeeze him into the starting lineup. If I'm getting him at the same area as Valanciunas, Drummond, Tyus Jones, and it's Scoot, I'm all right with that.
I agree. Yeah. No, I think I'm out on CJ McCollum, but not there. That was a very, very strong pick in my eyes. I feel like you nailed that one there. Even Middleton, I mean, that's around 120 or something like that. That's absolutely fine to have a crack there. Bloody oath. Let's move on to Whisperer, our man, NRL absolute superstar. He goes with Harden, Markkanen, Jimmy Butler. So he goes very strong in threes and then says, I couldn't give a fuck about him anymore. Jaren Jackson, so you get the blocks up. Ayton for rebounds. Kessler for blocks as well. Porzingis for blocks. He's going to be very strong blocks-wise at the end of the season. That's for certain. Murray for more threes. Chris Paul for assists. Jones for assists. Kismet for more threes. Pope for more threes. And then Klinger for more blocks in case we see Ayton move. So he's got the backup there. There's a lot to like about his team. There's a lot going on with it, and there's ways where he can go. I thought it was I couldn't see the vision early, and then I started to see what he was bringing. But I feel like this is going to be a team where it's going to be stronger later, hopefully, than immediately, because there's still some iffy things that we're not 100% sure about for this team.
I don't know the bloke, but from all everything I've heard, he's a good fella. And I think all I could say about this team is that if you made me draft an NRL team, this would be what I would pull. This is the NBA equivalent of someone who likes sports but isn't like super into the NBA. And if I went on into his world and they were like, all right, we're picking NRL teams, that would be my NRL team. It would be just guys like that are pretty good. It's a bit confusing. Like there's some names in there. There's points where you're like, this dude must like really know what's going on with his Ayton pick. And then, like Kessler, who knows, might get that kind of value. Porzingis injury, I don't know if he knew about that, but, that might help later on, especially because we have this deep roster. Harden, after me, awesome pick. Like, I love that. Obviously, I'm a big Harden guy, but as a guy who likes to win fantasy, I think that's great. I think he probably could have waited on someone like Butler, but Butler's upside, if he plays, he's going to be laughing, at the end of the third round there. So, he could be a guy who just, like, cleans us all up and then I have egg on my face, because if I went into his world, I definitely wouldn't be able to do the same thing.
He's an absolute legend, that's for certain. But speaking of legends as well, we run to the next one. This is pick 11. This is Braino's team, and he gets his man Trae Young at pick 1. He bears him with Curry.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're going to get pick 11, I don't think you can go much better than getting Curry and Trae from that kind. Like, you can interchange with Harden or Ball, but still, Trae, Curry, beautiful. He then goes Paul George, so the threes and the points are still nice. Steals, he is Paul George, but nothing there. So he's not really got many rebounds. So he goes Turner, who also doesn't get many rebounds, but he then gets the defensive stats and it still can shoot threes. Duran, then the rebounds come there. So that's a little bit of where you go, okay, maybe he could. I think he had some drafting trouble, though. I know that a few of us had some drafting troubles where it would auto go or auto update and just we weren't all caught up. So it was a bit of pain. But either way, Duran he'll be sensational this year. I'm not sure if it works that well immediately. He went Giddy, Jabari, Drew Holiday, great value there. Draymond Green, also really nice for defensive stats to bring them all back in. Scoot Henderson, real nice upside. Lively, Ricochet, and Wendell Carter in the last round is not bad to have a swing at a starting center there. But I can see the vision, and I think that if he just makes a couple of alterations through trades, he's got an absolute ripper here.
Love this team because he's clearly got, like, if you look at his first 3 picks, you're like, this guy is going to absolutely smash the points category. Like, if you got Young, Curry, and then Paul George, like, everybody get out of your way. And then he's just gone, that should do for the rest of my team. He's gone Turner, Duran, Giddy, Smith, Holiday, Green, and then maybe picked it up a little bit with a 6-man in Scoot. But yeah, it's just so funny. Like, and then he's just gone into real specialists. All right, I need blocks. I guess I'll get Turner. All right, I need rebounds. Time to get Duran, best in the business. I need a guy who's a small forward but doesn't really do anything that a small forward would do. Let's go Giddy. I need a guy who might get me some defensive stats. Let's get Smith and Holiday. My points are already screwed. I might as well get Green because I'm going to get assists and like he's going to get assists and plenty of rebounds. So then points. So in the end, he's probably just gone in ways, but the balance is going to be nice. And the last one's Big Horse. Take us through his team on the turn. Always a hard spot.
Bloody oath, mate. And also, I just want to say, I don't think there's anyone's team that's beating young Yodas in points for most weeks because that's Giannis, KD, LeBron, Banchero, Jamal Murray, and Kobe White. That's just a lot of fucking points. Big Horse goes I know he also had some drafting troubles, but that's all right. Donovan Mitchell, Domantas Sabonis, DeJounte Murray, Evan Mobley, Brandon Miller, Julius Randle, Michael Porter Jr., RJ Barrett, Jalen Suggs, Vassell, Capella, Collins, and Buddy Hield. Spider, really nice with the threes and the steals to start off with, and then some bonus to get some assists and rebounds. You get the best rebounder in the business, fair enough. Pairs them well with some beautiful defensive stat guys in Murray and Mobley. I think that them two right there is just a really, really strong pairing for one. And then Brandon Miller may be a little bit early, but that's all right. Hopefully he gets that step up. If he gets that step up, then he's got a really good guy there. He gets Randall I thought Randall was a really good buy at that point there. Could have probably gone, around there. Absolutely fine for Julius Randle. Porter for the threes and rebounds. Barrett for more scoring. Suggs defensive stats. Vassell, you have that gamble there. That's fine. And then Capella, Collins, and Hield. Yeah, you have that swing there. They're interchangeable anyway. So Capella in that. Yeah. What do you think about this team, mate? Because we can say that there's certain ways.
I'd say this is the safest team in ours, and I think he's made some great back-to-back picks. I'd even think Vassell there at the first pick of round 10. That's absolutely fine. Like you're still going to get plenty of season out of him, minus his first few weeks. We know that he gets injuries, so possibly not.
Yep.
But yeah, I think his team doesn't have a lot of upside, but it also just doesn't have a lot of downside. Like he's just going to nail it bang on. I think when you look at back at the end, some of my guys are going to be 10 above. Some will be 15 below. I'll get one guy who comes out of nowhere, in an Edwards, and he might become a first round guy. But I'm not going to nail many. I'm either my team's going to average out to be just fine, but I'm going to go high in a Levine. I'm going to go probably put too much on a man, and I'm going to fall out. But his team, man, it's just he's just his team at the end. I reckon if we go look at the end of season rankings, his team will just match those rankings perfectly.
Yeah, and he'll have those. This is the type of team where you're looking on that last day and you go, he's he needs 3 steals or something like that, and just random bullshit happens, and one of his players just randomly pulls 3 steals out of his ass and he wins it. And you sit there and go, how did that happen? And you sit there and it's just RJ Barrett has just one of those games. You sit there and go, shit. All right, Malley. Well, that was our Insight draft for number 1, mate. Is there anyone that you look at right now and you go, okay, I reckon that team's a front runner to take the prize, or are you still just kind of all right, we're just going to wait and see at the moment?
No, I don't think it's my team. I really like if I could swap with anybody and just take their team and they had to take mine. Minus the pick of Jaylen Brown, I probably would take Teddy Moose. I like that team a lot. Yeah, so I don't know if I'd pick him for the winner, but if you said you got to swap with somebody, it'd probably be Teddy Moose for me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I like that, mate. I think PC at pick 1. I think there's a lot of things that can be worked around with it. I like that one. I don't know if I'd switch with it. I'm not giving him that satisfaction. He can get stuffed. I don't really know. I'm just going to say it's kind of at the stage where we're just going to be wait and see. Let's see if there's any trades that have been made. I'm really happy with how some of these drafts have turned out. I think it's going to be a really competitive league, and I think it's going to be one. We'll keep updates on it, obviously, and we'll just see how everyone goes. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time that we have. Unless you got something else, Malley.
That's it, mate. Nothing else.
Happy days,
I'm just
brother.
ready for the games to begin.
Hell yeah. We have 2 more days, and make sure, because on the Insight Fantasy Sports Network, we have shows coming out of our ass. We're going to be making sure we're going to aim for 5 a week with me, G, Malley, all the boys. Remember, G's doing it with the crossover, I believe it is, with Kingy. We'll be having guys on there. It's going to be fantastic. But if you need anything, you can always DM me or Malley. You can jump into our Discord. You can jump into our Patreon. All the links are in the description. This has been another absolute ripper. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Give us a like and a thumbs up and all that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Then we pull out.